if we could start with, globalization, whether we should explore or retreat from the way that we have approached globalization historically. And I think also bringing up the topic of solar winds, right? And many people will say, yes, supply chain attacks, of course, we should rethink about how we have this over-reliance on very global suppliers to reduce that chance of those kind of attacks happening. So your thoughts on this globalization, sort of from a cybersecurity point of view?
This has been a long time coming. And when I look back to, I did my first supply chain security talk in 2013. And I remember at the time, people were saying, oh, it's, why are we having this conversation? I never imagined it would take off the way it has, where it is a significant exposure for pretty much any organization on the planet. So we have moved to cloud-based iterations for everything, from human resources to code repositories, and it just really has extended the targets of opportunity for the attackers.
Yes.
So we have to make sure that what we were once doing of protecting 4 walls has expanded to an unfathomable number of walls, for want of a better term, and we have to change the way we are approaching security. So a lot of security practitioners that were, of my similar vintage had a certain way of approaching the world, and I've been very fortunate that I've been dissuaded of that notion over time and experience, that we have to make sure that we're changing the way we're approaching, because while we're doing all of these interconnects, we have to make sure that we are not outpacing security, because that will expose us to undue harm. And I think that while it is a fantastic idea to be more heavily interconnected around the planet, we have to also have that fallback position of what happens in the event of some global catastrophe, be it either kinetic warfare or a natural disaster, something that might precipitate the need to cut off a country from the rest of the world.
Right.
And that is a fantastic notion in and of itself. It is also a Herculean task for most countries. I obviously, there are certain exceptions.
Right, of course, Singapore, right?
Exactly. And that's something I've been keenly aware of since before my time at CISCO, that this was a project that has been ongoing for many, many years. And that's no small feat. And it is fantastic to see that has grown over time. And we have to make sure that when we're using this as an example, that is something that can be replicated for other parts of the world. So that Canada has the ability to do that, the United States has the ability to do that, China has the ability to do that, like in order to survive whatever happens to come down the pipe. And it's not a case of saying simply kinetic warfare. It could be a natural disaster, because if we have over-reliance on multiple different platforms that are in other countries, there is that real probability that if there is a horrible event, whatever it happens to be, we may lose access to that. So we have to figure out how we can continue to operate. It's a little bit tired to use the pandemic as an example, but that is an example where we had our lives upended in a very short space of time. And we had to change the way we were approaching life in general.